In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Excel to work through the Bayes theorem calculations in a tabular format. I'll be working with some data from the Chapter 4 homework problem and the Bayes theorem worksheet. So if you're ready, let's get started. In this problem, we have data for 3 processing lines for vegetables, and the goal is to identify which line is most likely responsible for the case of cans that were not properly sealed. The prior probabilities are the percentage of vegetables that each line produced. With Bayes' theorem then, we integrate the new information, which is the known defect rate for each line based on the quality control inspections. If you click on this link here, you could download the data in Excel and it will look like this in this format. Let's take a look at the Bayes' theorem worksheet first. Like other Excel worksheets, the coral cells are where you're going to input your data, and then the gray cells is where you're going to be doing your calculations or you'll be typing in formulas. So let's go ahead and bring in our data from the problem into the coral cells. We're going to highlight this data, Control C to copy it, click on the Bayes theorem worksheet, click here, right click, paste special, and then values. As in other worksheets, I'm going to use paste special values so that the data does not override the formatting of the worksheet. Now, the Bayes theorem worksheet is pretty easy to follow. So we have our prior probabilities and their conditional probabilities that have been labeled as A and B. The joint probabilities is simply just going to be A times B. So we'll go ahead and type in equals this times this and click enter. And then we're going to go ahead and fill that formula down. Next, we need to calculate the total joint probability, which is labeled as D, which is just going to be the sum of the joint probabilities for each event. We'll click on this cell, we'll use our auto sum button and click enter, and we get 0.0677. Finally, we need to calculate our revised probabilities, which is going to be our joint probabilities divided by the total joint probability. So we'll go ahead and click here, equals this divided by this. Here's a key Excel functionality. So if I would not lock E9 or use an absolute cell reference, and if I drag this formula down, it's going to shift down and your formula is not going to calculate correctly. So what you need to do here is you're going to lock this cell reference with absolute references. You could use a shortcut with the F4 keyboard. You could also just type in your $ next to the E and the 9 as well, if you feel more comfortable that way. Click enter and go ahead and drag this down. So reviewing our revised probabilities for each event or each line, we could see here that line 2 has the highest revised probabilities. This means that line 2 is the most likely culprit for the cans that were not properly sealed. Well, that wraps up this video on how to use the Bayes theorem worksheet. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions.